Good morning, everyone, or afternoon or evening, depending where you are joining us today from. I want to welcome you all today to our webinar on the topic, Discovering Easy Platform version 2.1. Today you'll have an opportunity to hear some product updates about our new release. My name is Amit Gutin, and I am the Product Marketing Manager at Easy Systems. Our main speaker today will be Roland Benedetti, who is the Chief of Product and Marketing Officer at Easy. Roland joined Easy in 2005 and established the company's business and operations in France. In 2012, he opened Easy's New York office, where he now leads Easy's product management, UX, and marketing team. Roland has nearly 20 years of experience in enterprise and consumer content technology. Before we begin, I do want to go quickly over a few housekeeping items. All the participants have been muted in order to avoid any background noise. We also encourage you to submit any questions or comments via the Zoom chat box that you may have, and we will address them at the end during our Q&A session. At the end of the webinar, we will send all registrants of the webinar a follow-up email with the webinar recording, as well as links to the slides and to the relevant blog posts on this topic. So with that, I will kick it off to give an update about our new release cycle that we have optimized for 2018. And the main reason we've made these changes are to really optimize our productivity at Easy. So in our previous pattern, we had 6 releases per year. We had a strong dependency and bottleneck on manual QA, and we're not really able to improve enough on our QA automation. It also been a request made by partners and customers to extend a bit our fast tracks. So this change really, as you can see, makes more sense and easier to communicate. As you can see, so we have four releases throughout the year. We have the one that we just released today, which was the March 2018, our spring release. The following will be our summer release in June, and then September, and finishing it off will be in December 2018, which will basically be the winter release and the LTS a bit before Christmas. And with that, I'll pass it on to Roland, who will start actually demoing the different features and capabilities that we've added to Easy Platform and any other updates that we have for you all. So Roland, if you can take it away.
Sure. Thank you, Amit, and good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Very glad to host this webinar on 2.1. So, as Amit mentioned, we slightly adapted our release cycle, and 2.1 is the result of those basically last 2 months from our product development team of putting out new features in our fast track path. At the same time as working on 2.1, we're also working on 2.2. I will get back to the roadmap a little bit later, but for now I will focus on what was released. The release was made available on Tuesday as planned, and if you are a partner, you can find it on the partner portal. If you're a customer of Easy, you can find it as well on your customer portal. And of course, the open source edition is available on easyplatform.com and via Composer update. So everything is ready to be tried. Maybe you already tried it. If not, I hope I will give you some hints on what to expect in this release and what might be good for you and for your users. So the first big feature that we brought to this release is custom tags. For the one coming from the Easy Publish background, and there's quite a few of you coming from this route, custom tags are nothing new because they were a very important part of Easy Publish. They were maybe one of the most important extension points of Easy Publish, and some of you have used them extensively. It took some time for us to bring custom tags in Easy Platform in a very elegant and efficient manner, but that's now done with version 2.1. So for the one who don't know custom tags, I will say a quick word about that. Custom tags is basically having the ability in our online editor to add new tags that will basically embed content, information, or even features and interaction within the content that is managed through the online editor. So custom tags can be anything. There's no real limits. We decided to ship with Easy Platform version 2.1 3 custom tags, which are kind of universal and generic. It's basically ability to pull and embed content from the YouTube channel, from Twitter, and from Facebook. So those are very, very simple social custom tags. But you can think of anything. You could have a custom tag that is pulling data or interaction from a third-party system, like a marketing automation system, if you have one. You can imagine custom tag that is pulling data and presenting it from one of your business-specific database or business systems. There's really no limit. And the most important thing is that we wanted to make it very simple for developers to create those custom tags and to basically extend Easy Platform. So the way you can create those custom tags now is really in line with what Easy Platform version 2 is. It's focusing solely on like Symfony skills. So basically it will be done with twig templates, with a YAML configuration file, and if needs be, you can add controller and like business logic using just PHP and controllers using Symfony. But that's not even needed if you do basic custom tags such as the one we ship in the example. There's an extensive blog post that explains that summarizes this, of course, and I give the link here. And there's also documentation, of course. So just to have a better idea about what custom tag looks like, I will just bring my browser and just show this in the real life. So you should now see my browser that I will optimize for the screen. And I will go on Easy Platform. So I will just edit an article that I started to work. And custom tags are basically available within the online editor. When you add an element, you have now 3 new things here, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And if I want to embed a YouTube video, I will just add parameters, and you have a range of parameters which are available in the custom tag API. So I can go there, pick a video. This is our Barcelona partner meeting, and decide to embed this video in my blog post and then publish. And my content will automatically be published and will show my custom tag, which should come, of course, appear here and in my blog post. To get a look at this extensive blog post from Amit, and you will see exactly all the behavior. So this being said, getting back to my presentation, custom tags first step with 2.1. We will push this further, but all the APIs and I would say the tools for developers are there. What we will bring in the further releases is ways to better arrange and organize custom tags in the editor if needs be, because this works well when you have 3, but doesn't necessarily scale well when you have more than 3. And we also might bring additional parameters that can be used in the custom tag API, and eventually bring additional custom tags depending on the feedback of the users. So that's the first big features. That was something which was very demanded by previous Easy Publish users, and hopefully this will please developers who are still using Easy Publish and still a little bit waiting for feature parity with Easy Platform. I'll go and move forward on more features which are mostly about editorial experience within Easy Platform. So there's a variety of things, and I will start with one that we call content on the fly. It's just a way to let editors, when they are in different situations with the application, like let's say when they are creating a story and they are about to post this story and they want to embed in the story an existing image or video or resource. And if this resource is not yet in the repository, we want to make it very simple and fast for them to create this resource on the fly, instead of, like in the old way with Easy Publish and like in the old way with Easy Platform version 1, saving your draft, exiting your draft, going back to the repository, creating your image or your video or your resource, saving it in the media library, then going back to your draft. This is a very tedious and painful experience for an editor if he has to exit his current work, leave his draft, prepare the content, and then go back to his draft. So we want to provide a way for editors to really stay in the context of what they are doing, writing this story, and add the missing piece of content or the missing media on the fly so that it can be immediately published in the blog post. So it's basically relying a lot on the discovery widget, which is this modal window that pops up and that lets you create or discover content, search through content in the repository. So the best is to show it. It plays at different places in the interface. The first places is probably on the dashboard. That's a very simple one. That's when we did user testing and user research, we realized that very often editors, they log into Easy Platform and they want, the first thing they want to do is actually create content, and they don't necessarily want to navigate through the repository to go to the right location to create their content. They want just to create content. So we have this create button here, which is obviously available, where you will basically pick the three main parameters that you need to know: which language you want for your new content item, which content type. So I can decide to create, let's say, a blog post, and where I want to store this new content. So I will create my blog post here, and automatically from the dashboard, I'm in a modal window, which gives me a quick way to create a new blog post. So I will do it quickly. Just put my name here and save. And in very quickly, I was able to create a new content item, and I'm redirected to the content view on this new content item. And this is the very first example, but there are many other examples and situations where you can use content on the fly. Another one is when you're editing, so I will edit this blog post further. When you are editing this blog post and you want to embed a new image. So here I could search for image, go in my media library, navigate and discover my content, but I could also not find what I want. So I can now, with the create tab here, which is similar to the interaction I gave you before, I can decide to create an image or something else, decide to store my image here so that it will be reusable in the future. And then I decide to create my content on the fly. And then from there, I will just pick a good image. So probably using this, let's say up, and publishing this. So my image automatically on the fly is creating. I will be sent back to my draft. Oh, I need a, of course. I need a name for my image, of course, and I think that's all I need. So automatically, I'm brought back to my draft. I didn't quit my draft. It's not even saved. It's just there. I can decide about the image variation I want, and I can just, this is too big, I will go medium, and I can just post. So that's a very classical use case where content on the fly plays well. You create a story, you don't have the video, you don't have the image, but you want to stay in your story, writing it, then you can create it on the fly. So I just showed two use cases. There are others. There are others, any places where you need to search for content. So when you create, for instance, a relation between two content items, when you are in a page and want to embed some content, when you can do different things. Most importantly, when you customize and extend Easy Platform, you might create specific features which are specific for your users, business specific, and you might want this, and you might want this by setting parameters like limiting the number of content types which are allowed, maybe forcing the content type which is allowed. This is a feature which is coming actually in the very next weeks. maybe deciding on the location and the language and things like that. So it's a tool which is available now out of the box for editors, but again, like anything in Easy Platform, it's also a tool that developers will be able to use in the future to really create their own features and create shortcuts for users when they want to do things very efficiently. So Content on the Fly is basically saving editors a lot of time, removing a lot of clicks, and letting them be more efficient and more productive with the platform, which is one of the main things we want to improve now on the platform. So that's Content on the Fly. It's one of the many editorial features that we brought. Another one is better search for editors when they are in the platform. So better search means exposing to the editors some filters. I will again just go in the application. It's probably easier. So when you go there with 2.1 now, you have a more sophisticated search. Previous version 2.0 and 1.x were only full text search. And this is still here, of course, and it's still full text, so I can search for food. And you see that I have quite some results. I can now use filters to actually specify a little bit more and narrow the result set of my search by, for instance, deciding that I just want to look for products, articles, and blog posts, and applying this. And I narrowed down my result set, and I could say that I just want the one created in, well, let's say between yesterday and today. I don't know actually from when is my content, we will see. Those are the modified one. Well, I just pinned up this new installation, so all the content is actually quite recent. But so that's the filtered search. It's probably helping people to discover content and find the right content more quickly. It's a new feature. It's based, of course, on the classic API. And like anything, again, in Easy Platform, we did it in the platform user interface, which is actually, as you know, a Symfony application. We also do it there so that it can be looked at and taken as an inspiration for developer when they want to do it on the front end. So we will improve this search capability further with more field types. And we will also make it like a good example for developers who want to bring this kind of search experience on the front end on their site so that they can look at how it's done in Easy Platform. By the way, on this specific topic, we have a little poll like suggesting different new filters for the next releases of the filtered search. So if you go there, you can share on our Discuss platform. You can share your feedback about what are the next filters we should add to this existing list of 4 filters which are in platform 2.1. So that's editorial experience, the filtered search. There are many more small things. There's a site access switcher in preview mode that seems like very obvious, but it was not possible before. What is this? This is basically about letting the users, when they are in edit mode, let me get back to my dashboard, and when I'm working on a specific page, and I'm previewing this page, I now have access here to a switcher which will let me look at how the content would look in different site accesses. So here, I'm only having translation site accesses, so it's not necessarily the most relevant example, but if I would have a multi-site configuration where I would create content which is displayed under different brands and different design, that makes it a very useful resource for editors to preview the content under all the location and all the site accesses where it is visible for the end user. So that's another small, but yet we know the devil is in the detail, very important feature. Other things like a draft conflict model window, which makes it very clear now when you are about to create a new draft. It seems like you cannot create a new draft. You will really have a clear message, and you can always click plus to create a new draft, but you won't stack up too many drafts without noticing this. So draft conflict when editing an existing piece of content. Support for what we call deep links. Let's say I'm working on on this page, and I want to share this with one of my coworkers, I go on Slack and I paste this in Slack. My coworker is not logged in Easy Platform. He will basically click on this link, will be redirected to the login screen, will log in, and then will be redirected to the right resource. This is what we call deep links. This was not possible before, and actually it's small but yet very important things that makes the user experience better for the editors. Automatic language selection and edit, we got this very annoying, constantly present modal window asking for the editor to choose the language in which he wants to edit a page, even when the page was just in one language, so we made this better. And we also have many other small usability improvements like position of the buttons, colors, and which basically contribute to make Easy Platform UI much more interesting, much more comfortable, and much more speed to use. So we will keep working every release by providing these kind of small improvements. There's here like 4 that are listed, plus many small things. That's also this which will contribute, I think, to really provide the best editorial experience on the tool. Next are bigger features. They are not small user experience things, but they are like more solid features. They allow to do new things and not just to create better experiences when you create content. The URL alias is also something not new to the one we've been using Easy Publish, but it's something that was not yet present in Easy Platform, and now it's created, it's present. For the one who don't know URL alias, it's a way for an editor to create new URLs for any resources which is in the repository of Easy Platform, so that users can use those URLs to access the content. You can decide if you want an automatic redirect or a 301 redirect. You can place this new URL under the root of your website, which is the usual use case, or you can keep it under the current directory structure you are here. And to use this feature, it's very simple. Well, this is not a good example, so I will more go to a page which is a little bit deeper. I will go into a product which has a very long name. So let's say this, I didn't even know. I'm thinking this will probably be a long URL for editors. So the URL is here. I don't really like this. And let's say that I have a marketing contest coming and I just want to create a super simple URL for users to access this page. I will just go there. I will say yummy, and we'll place this URL at the site root, and it will redirect. And I create my URL, and automatically this URL will be available on the website and will be usable by the visitors of the site or by my marketing team if they want to use this, basically. So here is our fish and chips. So that's the URL alias. That's yet a very important feature of Easy Publish that we are really glad to finally bring in Easy Platform. We are reducing the gap, the feature gap with Easy Publish, and that's a good thing. At the same time, we bring some improvement to the way the feature is shown to the editor, because URL alias was an example of a feature which was a little bit technical. Editors didn't really understand everything when we tested this on Easy Publish. Now we think we brought it in a nicer way in the new interface of Easy Platform. Very similar is another quite fairly technical feature which is existing in Easy Publish, but which we bring again to Easy Platform. It's the ability to manage what we call object states. What are object states? They are a technical actually feature of Easy, which lets you define some specific states for specific usage on content. So this is something that is quite generic and that can be used by developers to create different sort of features. It can be used to create some editorial workflow or editorial pipelines, can be used to create some, I don't know, e-commerce checkout processes if you want. It can be used for, let's say, manage the user-generated content moderation flow. If you are about to accept content from your visitors on the website, you could decide of having a very specific workflow where the content that is being suggested by the visitor will go through different steps. All those things can be done using object states. And object states are now very easy to use just with the user interface. I will show it quickly to reach the object state feature. First, there's two sides to it. The first thing is that you can define your object states in the admin panel. You go under the admin panel to object states, and you will create an object state group that will be your process. So I could, for instance, decide to create a group. I just mentioned the user-generated content use case. I will create an object state for user-generated content management. I create my use case, and then I will create different states. I will create one which will be submitted. Let's say this is the stage where we just received the content. It's been created in the repository. It's available in a folder, but we don't want to display it on the website yet because it's just been submitted. And then I will just create a very simple object state here. I will say it has another stage which is validated, and I create my validated stage. And that's done. And I have now my two states for this object state UGC. And this is immediately available within the interface. So I can go in my content repository and I can go to any piece of content. Let's say I go to product again, tomato soup, classic. If you go to the detail tab now, you have here the state details. So you have all the object state groups which are available. And you can actually, for this specific content, decide that this, let's say it was submitted by a visitor, is now validated. And you can set the state. So it's a very generic feature that developers can use to make things more specific. And they can also use them in new user interface, of course. But it can be used in so many ways. It's very powerful. So we are really glad to bring this back. And most importantly, I have to say that we are really glad to bring this back because it's based on a contribution from Wizipo. So thanks a lot, Douglas, for bringing this code. It was, first part was shipped with 2.0. It was the view part. And now with 2.1, we bring the management part. And that's great. So please keep contributing to the platform. There are features like this one, which were maybe not the first things we would prioritize in the platform, but because you were able to do a contribution, we added the extra work to QA and also to maybe fine-tune some of the things. And now it's fully part of the platform. There's a huge value to work like this, and I hope we will have many more contributions in the future. So let me go forward as time is flying. We are already half an hour in this webinar. I will try to go fast. We brought password management features as well. Those are just simple things such as changing your password or resetting your password. This is for easy platform, the user interface. So when I log out, I can ask for resetting my password from there. And I have a very secured and classic way of creating a new password for easy platform for my user. And in the backend as well. So I will not show this because it's quite standard, but it's still something that was missing actually. In my interface here, I can also decide to change my password and create a new password for my user. So that's powerful things. Again, just like custom tags, just like the filtered search and other features I demoed, we do this now in Easy Platform. We also do this in Easy Platform because Easy Platform is a Symfony application and we want you to use the same techniques. So we will, it's already possible to look at how it's done, and we will document and package this in a better way so that you can use this feature on the website themselves. This will be added to the demo site of Easy Platform and so on and so on. So password management. And many more. There are improvements to the REST API. I won't show there, but like passing the location that match the URL alias, providing the search with field criterions. And there are quite a few other small things that I won't list. I just counted them though. There's exactly 100 bug fixes in this release, which is quite a lot when you think about this. It's a fast track release, so it's it's quite a constant pace of fixing bugs in the system, which is normal for 2.0. And there's also many improvements, 67. I invite you to go to the documentation to get the full list of the changes. And I also invite you to go to the Easter release Easy Platform blog post, where you will get small video of all the features if you want to watch them again. I just want to spend a few more minutes before opening for QA. During 2.1, there's also many good things happening in the ecosystem, which are not necessarily in the core product, but which are contribution to Easy Platform. We got 2 great connectors coming in this time. We have a connector which is using Easy Platform 2.0 to integrate it with Slack. So this has been done by Sébastien Morel from Novactive, and it's quite a powerful connector that lets you do different things. First, it lets you use Slack Connect to first log in with your Slack username and password and recognize your roles and permissions across the 2 applications, Slack and Easy Platform. It also lets you define notifications that will be posted automatically in Slack channels from Easy Platform. So notifications such as new content has been published, such as new content need moderation, such as content requires review, or visitors posted user-generated content. Anything you can think about with this plugin, you can create a notification for, and you can add to the notifications some interactivity. So the use case I just showed about, for instance, managing an object state, you can manage an object state directly from the Slack interface. We actually can see it here. There's small buttons that you can add in a notification, so that you could moderate or approve content from Slack directly without having to log in to Easy Platform. So that's quite powerful. I invite you to visit this and to check it out. A very strong bundle. And another one was brought by Contextual Code. This is a Facebook post importer for Easy Platform. So with this bundle, you will basically create a mapping between Facebook posts and content types in Easy Platform, and you will be able to automatically pull posts which are posted on Facebook pages to your Easy Platform content repository. So those 2 were participating to the Connector of the Month competition. We have this new incentive in place, and we invite a lot of people to bring additional features around Easy Platform, because we think this is also generating a lot of values for our user. And even if it's not part of the releases, even if it's not part of the core product, it's worth to say a word about those things. I think that's about it for this. I think we can open up for questions very soon. I just want to say a word about the future. Amit started with the release cycle. You know that we will have a release at the end of June. It will be the summer release. The big items we are focusing on for this release are different things. First, we are focusing on the page builder, which is, as you know, on Studio, so only available in the Enterprise Edition. So most of the things I showed and most of the things we focused in 2.1 were actually in platform, where like in the open source edition. The page builder, we started to work on it in January, and a good share of our resources are focused on this. We are launching in June a new version of the page builder, totally based on our new technical architecture, basically based on Symfony and React, which will be very fast, but we're using the same concept as the landing page editor from version 1. We will bring additional blocks that doesn't exist in version 1, like the rich text block or profiling blocks. We will bring more features in regard to scheduling, content and publishing, and managing the workflow. So those are the big items we are focusing on when it comes to Studio. And on the platform, we will keep working on the filtered search. We will implement the bookmark, and then we'll bring a range of improvement to the online editor to really make the editorial experience even more streamlined, even more comfortable for the editors. There are many other features that are in the backlog and planned for this year roadmap. I'd be happy to share with anyone who wants to interact with us. But at this point in time, I think the best is to open up for a few QA and maybe wrap it up in something like 5-10 minutes. Amit, I have not been looking. Do you have any question collected by the audience?
So we will now open it up to the Q&A, if you guys can please submit it through the question and answer chat box, if you have any. So feel free, and then I'll read them out, and Roland will have a chance to answer any questions you guys may have. So. Okay. Give it one more minute to see if anyone has questions. So just also to make a side note, as I mentioned before, I will send to all the registrants as mentioned. Oh, wait, we have a first question. So Roland, the custom tags given as examples are for the type para, P-A-R-A. Will it be possible to create custom tags inline?
Yeah, so I guess you're asking about keeping within the custom tag some content which will remain in the online editor. So let's say select a full sentence or just a word and create a custom tag that will be inline and that will wrap up the content. So that's something we had actually in Easy Publish, and we've been debating how to do this best and to provide a better user experience than what was the experience for the editor in Easy Publish. It's definitely in the backlog, and we don't know yet if it will be the next round or the next iteration on the custom tag or not. It will depend a lot on feedback, such as your feedback. So it's definitely in the backlog, and it will be possible because we know we have to make this in the custom tag feature. Not sure if we bring this in 2.2 or 2.3. We are still looking into how to make this the best. And it's probably part of the online editor v2, because custom tags are actually part of online editor. So that's where we will squeeze this kind of improvement.
Okay, so any more questions? If anyone has any more questions. Also, if you don't have question now, don't forget you can always email us at product management at easy.no. Just everyone knows. There's another question for you, Roland, and is what about custom tags that were implemented with XSLT templates?
That's a good question. So what was possible with Easy Platform version 1 and with the rich text field type is still possible, and you can indeed use and you should use XSLT processing to process the structure, and it's possible. But when we worked on custom tag, we definitely identified and got very strong feedback from developers that using XSLT is annoying, and for simple things we wanted to avoid that. So that's why for the simple custom tags where we just want to store simple parameters and manage the rendering both of the tag on the sites but also on the tag within the online editor, we wanted to make sure this could be done with Twig. So the answer is basically yes, it's still possible, but we wanted to bring something better and simpler for most of the use cases where developers would not have to deal with anything like XSLT.
Okay, thank you, Roland, again for that answer. Any more questions? Please feel free to ask them. We have a few more minutes left before we have to wrap it up.
So Amit, I think meanwhile we can say a word about the next release. The date will be, I think, June 26th or something like this. So exactly 3 months from now. What we are doing now is working actively on Page Builder, and the scope is fairly narrowed, but any feedback from what you saw in this webinar, and there will be a lot of small improvement again in 2.2, in addition of the Page Builder and the new features. So we don't put them in the roadmap, but definitely we'd value any feedback and any contribution to help us bring further those features.
Exactly. Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap it up. Again, thank you. I want to thank our presenter Roland for taking time to doing this webinar and providing everyone updates. And thank you for everyone who attended. Please be on the lookout. We will upload the recording of this webinar to YouTube and send it out to everyone who registered, as well as links to relevant blogs and to the slides, to the slide deck if you guys want to take a look at it again for yourselves. So with that, thank you so much for joining us, and hope you have a happy Easter and great weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.